In Illustrator, in the second project that we're going to be working on, we're going to be using the shape tools, and we're also going to be talking about both of these arrows that are up here, and we're going to be talking about some of the attributes and some of the things that these arrows do. First of all, the direct selection tool, we can get to the direct selection tool by clicking the letter A. So that's what I'm going to be doing during this lesson. The other selection tool is just called the regular selection tool, and that's the letter V. So that's what I'm going to be doing. If you notice that I'm going to click A for the direct selection tool and V for the regular selection tool. These tools do very different things in Illustrator, and depending on how you handle your shapes and what you want to do, you will be choosing one of these tools: direct selection A, regular selection B. They act as sort of a little bit like the move tool in Photoshop. So let's go ahead and make a new file again. Again, we're going to do the default. We're going to call this one Analogous Colors, and then your last name, and then whatever period you have. We're going to leave the artboards the same. We have sizes, letter, and we have 8.5 by 11. The units again are inches, so we're going to keep it that way. And the orientation is portrait or vertical. So go ahead and click OK. Okay, we've taken an additional palette out from the Windows menu, and it's called the Pathfinders. We're going to be dealing with that a little bit later, but it's going to become important during this lesson. The Pathfinders lets us do lots of things to our shapes. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. I'm going to close the character palette because I'm not going to be really dealing with that right now. And I kind of like to keep my desktop a little bit neater. Keep my swatches palette over here. I'm going to move my toolbar next to my swatches palette. The first thing we're going to create is a set of colors over here in the swatches palette. We're going to do that by double clicking the fill, which is the top square in the bottom of the toolbar. If I go ahead and look at this vertical area of color, I notice that it begins with red, it goes to blue, then to green and orange, yellow, and back down to orange and back up to red. So we have red, pink, blue, turquoise, greenish, yellow, back to orange and red. This essentially is the color wheel we just made, except it's now vertical. It's as if you took your color wheel and you cut it and laid it out in a vertical area. So that's how these colors are arranged. When you look at your color wheel, and I've opened a little color wheel, the same one that we use in class. If you take a look at your color wheel here, you'll notice that you have yellow, green, over to blue, violet, red, up to orange, and back to yellow. So here we have yellow, red, and blue. There are our primaries. And we have green, violet, and orange. Those are our secondaries. The colors in between the secondary and the primary are called the tertiary colors. And that would be orange and yellow make yellow-orange. And yellow and green make a yellowish green. Green and blue make greenish blue. And if we look at blue and red, or red and violet, we get sort of a red-violet. We're going to keep that in mind as we create this next color family over here in our swatches palette. As I double-click the color picker, and I'm going to keep my color wheel open up here, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to start at red. There's our red on our color wheel over there. And I'm going to do some colors between, I'm going to pick some colors that are between the red and the blue area. So that would be blue, violet, violet, red, violet, and red. So those colors that are next to each other on the color wheel, similar to each other, we're not going to go across the color wheel to green. Green would be the opposite of red. We're going to talk about that in the next lesson. We already talked in class about different associations between colors. So in here, we're just going to sort of choose the colors that we're going to be using. So I'm going to take my color picker, I'm going to slide it up to red, and as I click around, you'll notice that this is the color that we've chosen in the color picker. And if I say OK to that color, oops, one moment. If I go ahead and double click the color picker again, here we have red up here in the color wheel. So I'm going to choose about 3 reds and maybe 3 sort of violets, and I'm going to choose 6 colors, and that's what I'd like you to do. So here I'm going to start in the reds. I'm going to say OK. My color right here is on my toolbar. I'm going to take it, I'm going to drag it over to my color swatches, and I'm going to make a new color right there. If I click the folder there, I can make my own color panel where I can put that red color. So there it is. If I double click this again, go to my color picker, I'm going to go to maybe a darker version of that color. I'm going to go ahead and say OK, and I'm going to drop it into the folder that I just made. I'm going to do that with 3 of these red colors. I'm going to move this a little bit towards violet. Maybe take a little lighter violet color. And remember, I said I was going to be using reds. Put this over here instead. I'm going to be using some reds, and I'm going to go down towards the blues and the blue violets. Let's say OK to that one. As I bring this up, you notice that there's a little blue line that indicates that's the folder that I'm going to be putting my color in. So we're going to do that. Double click again, maybe take a darker violet. Kind of liking how this color scheme is coming out so far. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me take one that's a little bit lighter. I like that one. Say OK, and go ahead and drag that right up there. Okay, so that's how we save our analogous colors into a folder. In the next lesson, we're going to be using these colors, and as I said before, we're going to be using the Pathfinder to create a color scheme made from shapes using analogous colors.